A mile walk. I can't imagine a walk that takes 40 minutes isn't at least a mile, even though I'm walking slow. But 40 minutes, what do you guys think? 40 minutes walk slow. I'm walking with my cane, but I think the goal is to get in the exercise, to get those muscles working. So I think that probably even at the speed I went, the uh, the tortoise speed, even that is probably a mile. You know. Beautiful out today, though. Look at the pool, man. I actually went in the pool over the weekend. You see that? Isn't that gorgeous? Just beautiful. People slow to show up today. What's going on? Here we go. We can see someone in the chat now. 1 and 3 thumbs up. Cool. 7. Hello, guys. I don't know if any of you guys watched. I had a really great show last night. It didn't have as good of a audience size as usual. Donna Michelle Cardenas. How are you, Donna? Good to see you. Love that last name, Cardenas. Um, So we didn't get as big an audience. It was Mike Riley, who is a assemblyman from Staten Island. He actually goes and does battle in Albany with some of these lunatic politicians. And the topic was crime soap opera. Hello, Tom Cusinelli. Excellent show. You watched the show last night, Tom. Great. Yeah, unfortunately, it didn't get. Willez Pony, where you been? Tortoise speed. That's you're saying that my walk was tortoise speed? I guess it is until I totally recover, get back to. I usually, when I walk, I usually walk really fast. I used to be a caddy as a kid, and when you're carrying 2 bags, I always wanted to get way ahead of the golfers. So I trained myself to walk really fast, and that was with 2 bags on your back. So yeah, now I'm not walking. Then I got my cane, and sometimes you see other people in the park with walkers, and they like look at me in solidarity. No, 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 no. I'm not there yet. I had surgery. I'm not old and decrepit, but I did have surgery, and it takes a little longer to get back to walking my normal speed. And you notice I said walking like a New Yorker. So, Jojo, Jolene, Jolene. That's the old Dolly Parton tune. Good morning, Jolene. Good to see you. 31 fresh faces in the chat. Being able to look at my pool. Our pool guy, I think he needs a tip because he's doing an amazing job, right? Yes, Diane Krause. I went in my pool this weekend, and I walked a little bit in the water. They say that's good for you too. Dan 1, good to see you, Dan. So getting back to last night's show, yeah, it was about the Supreme Court open carry decision. They're trying to make it easier for New Yorkers and other states that they've been very restrictive for good people, for people without criminal records and criminal histories to get an open carry, that they're allowed to carry a handgun. They're licensed to carry a handgun. And when that passed, the governor of New York, the mayor Adams of New York City, and all these politicians in Albany went absolutely ballistic. You would have think that the worst law on earth passed. And what's curious about that is that Governor Hochul does not challenge the bail reform laws. So folks are shooting people left and right, getting caught with illegal guns, and they're not getting prosecuted. But she just turns a blind eye to that. But now, when legal people, by law, are going to be allowed to obtain a handgun permit, she's all over it. And so is Adams. Adams started talking about the iron pipeline and the ghost guns and all this other stuff. What does that have to do with this? This is a bill for good citizens, for legal gun owners. Donna Michelle Cardenas, I got a pool recently. It's been cloudy and cold. I'm hoping it warms up today so I can take a dip. I hope it warms up so you can take a dip too. It's beautiful. Where are you, Donna Cardenas? What part of the country are you in? In New York right now, the weather's pretty nice. It's mild. I'd say today is about 75, 80. Nice. As I said, I took Crime Soap Opera. Listened to Neil Sedaka this morning. Tall Live inspired me from yesterday. Laughter in the Rain. Ooh, I hear laughter in the rain. I'm walking hand in hand with the one I love. I used to do, many years ago, I did security for this promoter. His name was David Guest. And David Guest married Liza Minnelli. For the marriage, I think, lasted for about a year. It always happens when gay men marry heterosexual women. The marriage doesn't seem to last. Well, David Guest was gay, but I think he was in denial about that. But he had all of these stars, and Neil Sedaka used to come to he would have parties like at Tavern on the Green and other places, and Neil Sedaka would show up and just get up on the piano and start playing some tunes. He's really an amazing songwriter. I remember Neil Sedaka's wife had this gigantic rock on her left hand, like I guess that was their engagement ring, but she walked around with her hand overweight from that giant diamond of a rock, you know. But yeah, no, Neil Sedaka goes back a long time. Great songwriter, right? Name some other of Neil Sedaka's tunes. Navy Vet, For the Broken. Frank Marsha, way to hot here in Tampa, Bill. 93 degrees, feels like 105. Yeah, I know Florida in the summer it can be off the hook, right? I think that's my next, that's the place I want to move to. I think I want to move to Florida. Willa's Pony, I remember that marriage. That's so cool. You know what was so cool? At the wedding, which was down on Wall Street, because it happened right after 9/11, the marriage happened. And the wedding was down on Wall Street, and I stood right next to Brian May, the guitar player from Queen. And right after he got off the stage, he played with a full orchestra. And he played that tune, Drive Your Mother Down. Oh my God. He had 80-year-olds standing on their chair rocking out. Drive your mother down, drive your mother down. The guy is an amazing, amazing musician. And I walked over to him and I said, hey, Brian, man, you had the whole place rocking. He goes, I don't sing that song. He goes, I let Freddie sing that song. He goes, I miss Freddie. And it was pretty touching, you know, because he also played We Are the Champions of the World, but he played it as an instrumental, which was really so cool too, you know. But the musicians that played at David Guest's wedding, it was just unbelievable, the cast of characters they had. And it was more like a show than a wedding, you know. Milwaukee Civilian, Breaking Up is Hard to Do. Great tune, yeah. Rachella Pranzo, hello all on the road listening in. Where you guys going to, Rachella? You going away somewhere? Tom Jordan, you're the best. Boxing MMA, hey Sergeant Bill, pool looks great. It certainly does. Maybe I'll jump in sometime today, you know. Tom Cusinelli, when you're on this job, you see so many cool things. There's the bad stuff too, yeah. No, you see some really, really cool things, you know. You know who came up to me at his wedding, and it was really strange, but he was such a nice guy? Kenny Rogers. And I got, you know, it had to be, this was in 2001, Kenny Rogers was still alive. He came up and he said, hey, how you doing? What's your name? And I said, what, and you security? I go, yeah, I'm a sergeant on NYPD. He goes, my pleasure to meet you. I mean, what a nice guy. You wouldn't expect like a big superstar to come up to you and, you know, and introduce himself like that. But it was pretty cool. Rachella Pranzo, nope, going home, out doing chores. Rachella's always, the mother's work is never done, you know. Rachella's always cooking, preparing to cook, keeping the house, all for Lieutenant Pete. Lieutenant Pete has to be some guy, right? How'd you guys like the weekend, Rachella? Mount Sinai, over by Long Island Sound. You guys probably had a great time, right? Some good food. Milwaukee Civilian, the show last night on SCOTUS was solid. Mike Riley, yes, you know, I was just a little, not upset, but disappointed that we didn't have the audience size that show deserved to have, you know. Tom Cusinelli, I was in the dugout doing the World Series 2000 Subway Series. What a memory, right, Tom? Who else could get to experience that? One of my favorite things at one of the World Series, a mounted cop let one of the Yankees jump on the back of the horse. And I think it was a great scene. It was a great photo op, but I think he got in a little bit of trouble for doing that. He probably said, hey, it was worth it. They gave me a command discipline. They took 5 days, but I got this picture on the cover of Sports Illustrated with me with one of the Yankees on the back, right? Rhett's mom loved when I was married and taking care of my house and my twins. Hey, there's some magical times in life that you have to seize. And you have to make sure you photograph them, right? That's right, Tom. It was Wade Boggs. I thought it was, but I didn't want to spew it out there in case I was wrong. That's right. Wade Boggs jumped on the back of the horse. Only in New York, right? It's funny. They tell all the cops and on these big details, don't you dare take a picture with the Yankees. And you see all the chiefs have a special photo session with all the Yankees. Of course they don't care, the cops, because they're getting their own special photo session. So they don't care if you get a picture. They're sure as hell getting theirs, right? I was told by this inspector one time, he just said to me, RHIP. What does that mean, Tom? Do you know? Tom Cusinelli? He just looked at me and said, RHIP. Come on, some of you NYPD guys. You don't know what that means? RHIP, said in a little bit of an arrogant tone. It means rank has its privileges. And I said, oh, so that's it, huh? You have those 3 good Saturdays, and you wear the little eagle on your shirt, and then you move up higher, and you got a star on your lapel. Then you got 2, then you got 3, and if very few ever get 4. That's the chief of department, the highest ranking patrol services uniform member of the service, chief of department, 4 stars. Boxing MMA 365. Frank Marshall, Bill, I remember the Subway Series between the Brooklyn Dodgers and New York Yankees from the 50s. They were always in the World Series together. Cool. You know what was a big bust for you guys remember? And I don't remember what year it was. The Yankees, the Subway Series. It was a big bust. It was a big thing in New York, but the rest of the country couldn't have given a shit less, you know? Everyone always says, oh, I hope we have a Subway Series. And then they had it, and it was sort of a bust. What year was that? Any of you guys remember that? What year? Or you guys going back, boxing, MMA? Yeah, I met a lot of stars, but you know something, after a while, who cares? I mean, we're cops, man. We see things that no one else sees, you know? They should be asking me for my autograph, you know? That's the way I felt, you know? Yeah, you meet a lot of stars, but... You know what star I wanted? I wanted that overtime star. That 40 to 50 hours a month overtime. That's the star I wanted. Meeting a celebrity didn't put any dead presidents in my check, right? I had mouths to feed at home, right? But so guys, 63 in the chat, 35 thumbs up. Let's get some more people. Where's all the people from Ireland, England, Australia, South Africa? I think they took a break from the show for a while, you know? So Tom Cusinelli, collars for dollars. That was the term, right? You see that New York City now is at a crisis level, and they're not acting like it is, but so many cops are retiring and resigning, they can't keep the numbers up. They're actually going to lower the physical standards to get on this job. Huge mistake, huge mistake. This job is already compromised, and you're going to lower the physical standards for people to get on this job? It's going to get ugly. You know, it's going to get ugly. And then you got these politicians that just, every time they rule against the police, defund the police, diaphragm law, get rid of qualified immunity, allow people to get in cops' faces with cameras and videotape them. That should be against the law, you know? I was talking about that last night with Mike Riley. You know, you're in Albany, Mike. Why don't you make that against the law? That's bullshit. That people, and not just come up on cops and videotape them, but taunt them. Taunt them. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine back in the day, someone taunting a New York City cop? You'd get a backhand, or you'd get the back of the wood shampoo. That's where that expression came from. I gave him a wood shampoo, you know. These days, if a cop did that, he'd get arrested, and it'd be all on videotape, you know. Different times we are living in, folks. Resigning, only guys who resigned in our time was to go to Nassau and Suffolk. Bigger dollars, you're right. Better job, Nassau and Suffolk. The community cares more for you. the community wants you to protect them because what? They have skin in the game. They own a home, right? They own a home in Nassau and Suffolk. They want you to protect their investment. In New York City, you have all these people walking around. They have nothing in the game. They want to know what the city can do for them. They want to know what the state can do for them. They want to know what the federal government can do for them. So therefore, there's no investment. There's no skin in the game. So they go against the police. These politicians in Albany, don't get me started. I was talking about this yesterday with Mike, with Mike Riley. And I'm going to have him on again, really interesting guest. And he's a retired lieutenant, and he represents Staten Island. And he's got a tough job. And he was with some video of him interviewing this guy, this assemblyman from the Bronx, who was the part of what the problem is in New York City. Just a total moron. Guy with a law degree, doesn't know the law, has no clue about the law, but he's got a law degree. Where did he get that law degree from? Get it from a Cracker Jack box? I mean, unbelievable. These people with law degrees. Are they giving out law degrees these days? I thought when you got a law degree, you also had to pass the bar, and that's an exam, Tom Cusinelli, not even affordable for a cop to live in the city. Well, it hasn't been for years. Cops sometimes live 60, 70, 80 miles north of the city. If you live too far east, Long Island, forget about driving into the city. Although you could take the Long Island Railroad, which is, that's no picnic either. Gloria Fritz, a Detroit police officer, was killed on duty by a man who recently bought an assault weapon. This happened yesterday. I'm heartbroken. Did you see what happened in Virginia? 2 guys were planning to do a big shooting with semi-automatic weapons, and someone called in and let the police know about it, and they stopped what would have been carnage and the deaths of tens, 15, 20, hundreds maybe by these 2 guys. And that's what we're always saying, if you see something, say something. And this was an example of that. Someone heard something or saw something, reported it, the police moved in, and these 2 guys got arrested before they were able to do their dirty deed. This is no joke, man. When you hear and see some of the things that have occurred, it's just insane. Uvalde, Texas, 19 young kids and 2 teachers slaughtered, Boxing, MMA. My niece is going to Cop Academy in Ireland in September, I believe. Any advice for her, Sergeant Bill? You know what advice I give to all new police recruits, no matter where they go to policing school? And this could be used and utilized in almost any profession. Keep your mouth shut. Loose lips sink ships. So keep your thoughts to yourself until you get out of the academy. And then it's probably a good idea even then. Keep your thoughts to yourself and you'll never have any problems. Did I follow that advice when I was on the job? Of course not. I was always getting in trouble with my mouth, my big mouth. But if I could give good advice, people that give good advice don't usually take it, Aunt BB, good to see you. I'm here just late. Folks, if you're not subscribed, and I know most of you folks are subscribed because I recognize your names, but if you're not subscribed, please go on our YouTube, hit that subscribe button. It's free to subscribe to us. Ring the bell, give us a thumbs up. Phil Leo, how are you, buddy? And if you want to support us with dead presidents on green pieces of paper, we have a Patreon with 3 different levels. And if you want to support us, again, on our YouTube channel membership with dead presidents on green pieces of paper, we have 5 different levels on our YouTube. So we have 2 Patreon and YouTube channel memberships. So, yeah, I was thinking, Phil Leo, doing good, Sarge. Great to see you, Phil. Milwaukee Civilian Wood Shampoo. I really wish you and Phil would do something. It's funny, there's so many cop expressions. We could probably do a whole show on cop expressions. And I think I wrote them out one time. I have hundreds of them, Wood shampoo, RDO, regular day off. He's fresh. That's a new person. Same thing if someone calls you a cheese dick. That means you're brand new. Um, there's so many. A flute. A flute was a whiskey in a Coke bottle. That goes to another era, so that the desk officer could drink whiskey out of a Coke bottle, and no one would know that he was drinking alcohol at the desk. Hairbag. I love Phil Leo. I love the expression hairbag. And the derivation of the term hairbag has so many, people will tell you so many different definitions. And I think where it comes from is that cops get $1,000 right before Christmas, around December 7th. And they're supposed to buy new uniforms with that $1,000. But if you get $1,000 before Christmas, what are you going to use it for? You're going to buy Christmas presents for your kids, right? You're going to spend it on Christmas. So as a result, cops never bought new uniforms, so their duty jacket appeared like it was growing hair because it was so old and decrepit, and thus the term hairbag. That's where I got it from. If someone else has anything different for that definition, please let me know. You got one. Green sheets. Yeah, that's a command discipline. You got one. There's some, you know what the worst word I hated on the police department? I hated the word behoove. When they used to say that, it used to make my blood boil. Officer, it would behoove you to shine your shoes prior to roll call. Why would it behoove me, Sergeant? Turbanize, Tom Cusinelli, that's a great one. Turbanize in the Bronx, they'd call it a Bronx party hat. I wasn't from the Bronx, but all the Bronx cops would say, oh, in the Bronx we call it a Bronx party hat. Moonlight view, that's a sulky word. Phil Leo, forthwith. That's another one, Phil, that I couldn't stand. You will respond here forthwith. For you folks in the chat, that means immediately. For you Spanish people, inmediatamente. You will respond to the precinct station house forthwith, or you will respond to the borough, and you will bring your patrol guide and your last memo book, and you do need representation. In other words, you need a PBLA delegate, unless it's even more serious. You will need an attorney to represent you. You know, you guys that aren't cops, you don't know that when cops get interviewed, they're allowed representation. And if it doesn't rise to the highest level, you can be represented by a police benevolent association or a sergeant's benevolent association, or if it's very serious, you need an attorney. And just like, you know, if a cop is involved in a shooting, they used to try to get him interviewed immediately, and then police had what was called the 48-hour rule, and they could wait 48 hours before being interviewed. But then I think the department or the city tried to take the 48-hour rule away. But if it's that serious, the officer or the sergeant, the lieutenant, the captain who's ever involved in the incident can invoke Miranda. Yes, I'm choosing my right to remain silent. I'm invoking my Miranda rights. But that's when it's really, really, really serious. But on certain things, if you refuse to talk, you can be suspended by internal affairs, right? 85 forthwith, that's right. Rachella, respond to Tony Roma's pizza place. I need an 85 forthwith because I forgot my wallet. That's Lieutenant Pete calling Rachella. Right? Will. Betty Stieg, I watched the show and it was good. Don't worry, you're not in a race. Take your time. Come a long way already. Good for you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I really appreciate that. 1066 is a toughie. Phil Leo, I don't remember. What was that code for, 1066? Tom Cusinelli. You know what the worst was if you were the patrol supervisor? And Tom Cusinelli, you remember this, if you got a 10-3. A 10-3 was never good news. It was always bad. Detective Lana, Delana. Hello, Bill Cannon. Hello from Pittsburgh. Hope you're having a very blessed day. I am, Delana. Thank you so much for wishing me that. It's always good to have prayers and people wishing you a blessed day. Tom Cusinelli, gross mutton chops. That's right, gross mutton chops were not allowed. And that's because cops used to have them. Those gigantic sideburns, remember that? A 10-3, Will, is call the dispatcher. It's never good news. Anyone that's ever been a boss on the NYPD, if they say, 4th zone dispatch to 2-4 precinct patrol supervisor, 10-3, and you're like, oh no, what happened? And it's usually something fugazi, something bad, an allegation of corruption, some messed up job. So you got to call them on the phone, and of course, it's top secret, but when you call them, everything you say is recorded, so how top secret is it? How many people are listening, 10-3, the dispatcher. Oh, okay. Jennifer Thornhill, it's not hot here today. It's maybe 75, 80. Where you are, it's 100 degrees? Wow, I wouldn't want to be sitting there. Moonlight View, can we decipher Whiskey Tango? That sounds like an army term, Whiskey Tango, Like the other day when I was talking about, the police department has their own alphabet, which is used to, it's used for a lot of things, but used for the naming of sectors. So the Sector Adam, Sector Boy, Sector Charlie, David, Eddie, Frank, George, Henry, Ida, John, King, Larry, Mike, Nora, Oscar, all the way through the alphabet. But the military uses different things. They use alpha for beta, I don't know. They use military words. And whenever you hear someone on the police department use those, they're from the military, but it's incorrect to use those terms on the police department. That's not what's used. So people always laugh and say, hey, dude, you're not in Iraq, all right? Use Adam, Bravo, right, Will. Adam, Bravo, I don't know all the military terms, but someone just got back from overseas when they start using that term. And believe me, I would be the last person to ever disparage anyone in the military. Military, you're all right in my book, but it's still funny if you use those terms, Adam, Bravo, I don't know what C is, Delta, right? All those different military terms. Police phonetic alphabet is different than military, as ham, amateur radio operators use military too. Bill B is Bravo, C is Charlie. Moonlight View, Bill, we love you. Oh, so nice. It's always nice to be loved, right? It's nice to be loved. So I almost wasn't going to come on today. I did a bunch of shows yesterday, and it's a lot of work, a lot of using your voice sometimes, and it's a lot of research, a lot going on in the shooting in near Chicago. Realizing that the police had previous contact with him. The media always looking to assign blame. Why there wasn't anything done? If you guys know that guy, Crimo, I believe his name is, he, in 2017, I think the police went to his house because he was going to commit suicide. And then another time he had 12 or 14 or 15 knives that he threatened to kill everyone in his family. The local police went to the scene and they referred it to the state police. Did the state police do the right thing? And then after those two incidents, he was able to buy a gun. And not just a gun, but a high-powered rifle that his father signed off on for him so that he could get it because he was underage. I mean, you can't make this shit up. How was he able to get a gun when he has a history of mental illness? For sure, attempting or giving an indication that you intend to commit suicide is a mental health problem. Threatening to kill your family with knives, I'd say that's a mental health problem, right? Belmar Beagle, the father should be in the cell next to him. Belmar, is that Belmar, New Jersey? Is that the Belmar Beagle you refer to? Love Bug, oh my God. Delana, no, you can't make this stuff up, and it's sad. Frank Marsha, Bill, what has happened with the young man who is missing in Utah? You know, Frank, I haven't been back to that. I think it's connected to the guy who they arrested. I think the only one, Belmar Beagle, yes, it is the Jersey Shore. Beautiful. Belmar is beautiful, right? Point Pleasant, Belmar, Brielle, those areas of the Jersey Shore, just gorgeous. You know, the only bad thing about the Jersey Shore is it gets a winter. Otherwise, it's as beautiful as anywhere in the world, right? Good fishing there too, on the Jersey Shore. Belmar Beagle. Expensive to rent a house on the Jersey Shore though too, right? Joyzy. Got no time for the corner boys on the street making all that noise. Got no time for the hoes on 8th Avenue. 'Cause tonight I'm gonna be staying with you. Tonight I'm gonna take that ride across the river to the Jersey side. Take my baby to the carnival, and I'll take her on all the rides. Down the shore everything's alright. You and your baby on a Saturday night. Don't you know all my dreams come true when I'm lying on the beach with you? So don't bother me, I got no time. I'm gonna get that little girl of mine. Nothing matters in this whole wide world when you're in love with a Jersey girl. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. You know, that I knew someone was going to say Bruce Springsteen made that tune famous, but he didn't write it. Um, Tom, what's his last name? Plays the piano, always wears a crazy hat. He wrote that tune, and a great tune, right? I just saw someone, Kevin Fahey, don't give up your day job. It is a great song. I saw someone just post in the chat that James Caan, the great actor James Caan, died. What a shame, man. Great actor, iconic for that role of Sonny in The Godfather. You know, James Caan went to Hofstra University on Long Island. I don't know if he's from Long Island. Hofstra University had one of the greatest theater programs probably in the country. And I know that because my brother was a theater major at Hofstra. You know who else went to Hofstra? Al Pacino. Two people from that Godfather cast attended Hofstra University. So I'm saddened to hear that James Caan died. Brilliant actor. You know, a regular guy. You know, everyone's like a, you know, so many great roles. Not just, he played in a movie called Thief, and Willie Nelson was in it. He was just great. I mean, tough guy. Shame, he was 82 years old. He lived a great life. James Caan, God bless, brother. Richard Resendez, great job singing, Bill. Thank you. Not everyone thinks so, but thanks. Belmar Beagle, 82 years old. Yeah, 82 years old is, you know, people can't say, oh, he's a young man. You're not young when you're 82, all right? I'd love to say that, but 82 is a decent age, you know, especially if you make it to 82 and you have a happy, nice life and you're healthy. It's pretty damn good. I think he had a pretty good life, right? Just, you know, people that have great lives, they never ever want to die. You know, it's just such a great, life is great, right? Tom Waits, okie dokie, you're right. Thank you. Why can I never remember Tom Waits' last name? Great songwriter, right? Great song. He wrote that song about the shore, you know. Down the shore, everything's all right. You and your baby on a Saturday night. Don't you know all my dreams come true when I'm lying on the beach with you? So don't bother me, I got no time. I'm gonna see that little girl of mine. Nothing matters in this whole wide world When you're in love with a Jersey girl. Sha la 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 la. Sha la 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 la. Sha la 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 la. Sha la 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 la. Someone just brought up Brian Piccolo. Wake Forest. He was he was on the Chicago Bears. He was the running back that worked that was blocked for Gale Sayers. Who do I think is better? Someone just asked me in the chat, who do I think is a better actor, Robert De Niro or Al Pacino? If you would have asked me 15 years ago or 20 years ago, hands down, I would have said Robert De Niro. But since then, Al Pacino has done some roles that have just blown me away. And one of them, of course, is Tony Montana. Look at the bad guy. Look at everyone looking at the bad guy. I think Al Pacino is he's a chameleon. The guy can do anything, you know. How about when in Scent of a Woman, when he played that he was blind? You actually believed he was blind. When you put your hand there was nothing there. That's acting. That is acting, man. He's tremendous. And I think De Niro has done a lot of crap in the past 10 years, you know, those Fockers movies, and he's done a lot of garbage. Not saying he doesn't have an encyclopedia or a volume of work that makes him one of the greatest ever, but my preference, my vote goes to Al Pacino. That's right, Kevin Fahey. Al Pacino can do Shakespeare. That is an actor. He probably learned Shakespeare at Hofstra because he was a Hofstra grad, and Hofstra has a tremendous Shakespearean program out of their theater. So, yeah, amazing. You know, I tried acting, you guys. I think you guys know that. I took classes for like 3 or 4 years. Really tough. I think I could have been good at it, but after the pandemic hit, and I was doing stand-up comedy. You know, Stop and Sniff. Send me an email in regards to that, all right? My email is policeoffthecuff, the number 1, at gmail.com. I can't read that quickly, so it's policeoffthecuff1 at gmail.com. I'll consider all guests, but you know what we usually like to have on Police Off the Cuff is not just a guest, but we want a guest with a national topic, with a national story. And that's what draws in interest. So a good guest with a national story. On July 20th, I have both not ATF, yes, actually ATF agents that were involved in the Narcos case. They're going to be on the show, and we're going to talk all about that. Moonlight View, Al Pacino's dad owned a pub eatery in our town in Southern California. Wow, pretty cool. Pretty damn cool, you know. It's always good to have connections to the hood. But Bill Al Pacino movie, City Hall, I love that movie. Yeah, another good movie, you know. Pauline Robert De Niro, Al Pacino, that's a tough one. Wow. You know, I can't keep track of all the cases, guys. I'm thinking of doing a show tonight. I haven't decided what the topic will be. So you can imagine all the shuffling I have to do. Phil is back from Florida. He had a nice little, short little vacation on the west coast of Florida. Diane Krause loves Al Pacino. We all love Al Pacino. He's an iconic actor, right? Tweety U.S. News, I had a family member who was involved in drug trade. He was the corporate side of things. You're looking at me? You're talking to me, you mean? You're talking to me. You talking to me? That was Taxi Driver. That was a long time ago. Taxi Driver. Taxi Driver. I think if you talk about the greatest Frank Marshall, Bill, you need a producer for the show to keep things straight. You know, Frank, you're right. I have an engineer, Josh, who also works for Duty Ron. But the show's not big enough for me to hire a full-time producer. That costs money, you know. If I ever get to that level where I am, if I have Duty Ron, 100,000 subscribers, I'll get a producer, you know. But right now, I'm doing so many things, and it's a lot of work, you know. And I know none of you guys are there with the violin crying for me. You shouldn't be, but it is a lot of work. And to keep track, to follow the emails, follow the cases, send out the stuff, do all it's a lot of work. But I will keep that in mind, you know, as we grow to the next level. I will definitely keep that in mind. And then throw in that just recently I had this hip surgery and I had some other stuff going on. It complicates your life, you know. It complicates things a little bit. 96 in the chat, 82 thumbs up. Let's bust it. We were already over 100. Let's bust it over 100 again, though. I'm at 41 minutes. I'm going to go to 45 today. And let's get back over 100. I'm at 96, guys. Okie dokie, focus. Spread too thin. You're right, okie dokie, but that's the way I live my life. I'm a type A personality. I always spread myself too thin. Milwaukee Civilian, you're closing in on 30,000 subscribers. You will hit the big time. I hope so. I hope so. I'm working hard at this, guys. Do I remember a film called The Choir Boys? Yes, I do. Frank Marshall, Bill, you will get there. The content is fantastic. Never a dull show. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And with the help of you guys, spreading the word, giving it. Margarita Horvath. Hi, Sergeant Bill. Lovebug53. Hit that button. This is great stuff. Thanks. We hit 100 again. 191. 100 in the chat, 91 in the thumbs up. Pacino, Dog Day Afternoon. Sal was great. Yeah, what country you want to go to? Wyoming. Ron Schindel. Good to see you, Ron. Always good to see you. How your son's doing? Ron has two sons that are great wrestlers. And that's close to my heart because my oldest son was a pretty damn good wrestler in high school. Never totally reached state level. He was two-time all-section. And in Nassau County, that would be the same thing as Old County. It sounds lesser up in Westchester, but he was like, probably had he started a year or 2 years earlier, he would have been state level. But I think Ron Schindel's boys definitely, one of them goes to Hofstra, which is a D1 program. And wrestling is such a dedication. It's, but tell you the truth, it keeps a kid out of trouble and keeps him in unbelievable shape. And as far as training for the rest of your life, there's no better training. No, except maybe mixed martial arts. So Ron, great to see you. Say hello to your sons and give them my best to them. They're working so hard. I played basketball in high school, and I played football, basketball. As a freshman, I played baseball. I gave up baseball. I just played football and basketball. But Captain Coke 70. My son was a 3-time Catholic state champion. Is that what you said? St. Anthony's? St. Anthony's is a great high school. The other big high school around here that Dan 1 will help get the follows. Mission accepted. Thank you. Frank Marshall, 2 of your brothers were New York State wrestling champs from Freeport High School. Wow. Freeport is really known more for basketball, you know, not a wrestling school. The wrestling schools on Long Island, most of them are in Section 11, Suffolk County. You know, they have these great wrestling schools in Suffolk. Nassau's tough, but I think Suffolk was the toughest. Now, Section 1 in Westchester is one of the toughest sections in New York State because of, definitely, Ron, you gotta, it's tough being a wrestling parent because if you push your kids too hard, they rebel on you. If you don't push them enough, you're not doing your job. But as a parent, right, Wantagh has a great wrestling program. That's true, Wantagh High School. I went to Levittown Memorial, and it was decent. Most of the wrestlers were football players that just wrestled to stay in shape. But programs like Nassau, well, Captain Coke 70 in Section 1, they have, it used to be Iowa-style wrestling. Now it's called Empire. That program took over Section 1 and made Section 1 one of the best wrestling programs in New York State. Bar none. There's a guy named John Deagle. It's his program. It's been in probably 15 to 20 years, the club has been in effect. Guys, I went over 45 minutes. I really didn't want to go over. I want to say thank you guys for listening to me. It's not so easy to talk for 45 minutes, but with you guys it's easy because you're Milwaukee civilian. I wrestled in high school. I am not joking, exaggerating at all. Sorry. Voger has the best wrestling club in Nassau. Police off the cuff. So guys, I'm going to, hopefully I'll see you tonight if I do something tonight. Thank you so much for spending these 45 minutes to me this afternoon. God bless everyone. I'll see you soon. Duty Ron sent me $50 right at the wire. You believe that? At the wire, Duty Ron hit me with a $50 bill. Thank you, Duty Ron. I was just getting ready to sign off. My God, I would have been $50 poorer if I didn't wait. You're the man, brother. Well, folks, I still have to sign off. Thank you guys for listening. God bless, and I'll see you all soon.